Hi everybody, it's your friend Daniel Hutchins. We're back again here on Hutchins Hut Productions. Yep, we are here on Hutchins Hut Productions, and we are going to be cracking out some more videos for you guys. Okay, so I know it's been like about a week since we've posted on Hutchins Hut Production. In fact, one of the last recent videos I posted on Hutchins Hut Production was the Rest in Peace Space Ghost, under my stepdad Legacy Specials, formerly known as the Eric Specials, but we have decided to drop the name Eric Specials and change it to Stepdad Legacy Specials due to safety of the family and the friends who are on my channel. Okay, so enough of that now. So we just came off another episode where we talked about 5 X-Men stories the MCU should not do. Now, we're going to be talking about something else. Yes, we're going to be talking about something else. Okay, you want to know some more stuff, right? Right. Okay, so today, the next thing we're going to be talking about is 8 Spider-Man and Jean Grey stories from the comics. Yes, 8 Spider-Man and Jean Grey stories from the comics. Now that Sadie Sink is now playing the mutant Jean Grey. Yes, Sadie Sink is now playing mutant X-Men Jean Grey in Spider-Man 4. The redhead Stranger Thing is now playing in Spider-Man 4 as X-Men Jean Grey. Multiple outlets reported that on Wednesday that Sadie Sink is now cast as mutant Jean Grey in Spider-Man 4. So now, since we found no Jean Grey as Sadie Sink from Stranger Things, now Marvel Studios and Sony have to follow up from the 2021 event Spider-Man No Way Home. Coincidence or not, comes after reports that Sadie Sink had landed the role of Jean Grey, who originally we know as Marvel Girl, as we know from X-Men the First Class, and then later known as the Phoenix. In the current class in the X-Men reboot, she is now our new X-Men Jean Grey, now set into the mutant team in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So now we have found our Jean Grey. As of yesterday, we finally found our Jean Grey. Of course, Sadie Sink is casted again and has ignited a lot of theory and speculated who she might be. Again, a lot of people thought she would be one of another amazing friends from Spider-Man. However, she actually could have been Angelica Jones, aka Firestar, or she could have been an alternative version of Mary Jane Watson. But however, most people wanted to say that, but however, the end result was she ended up becoming Jean Grey. So now she's Jean Grey. So, okay. Spider-Man 4, which is positioned between 2026 and 2027's Avengers, is also set as a multiverse movie, because Spider-Man 4 is also multiverse. Zendaya, who's played Michelle MJ Jones since the start of MCU's Spider-Man trilogy with Tom Holland in 2017, it's unclear if is she going to return. After all the memory of her remembering Peter Parker, Tom Holland, was erased by Doctor Strange Multiverse save spell in a No Way Home. So now if Sink is indeed playing X-Men's Jean Grey, the question now becomes, does she have the history with Spider-Man? Now this is where this gets interesting. Along come the spider. Okay, so Spider-Man and X-Men have had a history in the comics. Yes, Spider-Man and X-Men have a history in comics. In fact, the original X-Men Cyclops, Beast, Angel, Iceman, and Jean Grey, back then known as Marvel Girl, encountered Spider-Man for the first time in 1967. Yes, in 1967, Classic X-Men, book number 35 by Roy Thomas and Company. Now, Spider-Man previously made a brief cameo as when he declined Beast and Iceman's invitation to join the mutant team in X-Men number 27. In case of mistaken identity, the X-Men were led to believe that Spider-Man is involved with the disappearance of Professor X. After a brief scuffle, Cyclops realizes they antagonized Spider-Man for the wrong reason because he wasn't a Spider-Man menace that they were looking for, despite the issue saying so. Jean Grey is not only the only X-Men not to engage Spider-Man in battle. Yes, Mark of the Mutants. This again is another cover Marvel team up featuring Spider-Man and X-Men. Okay, this is really important. The Mark of the Mutants. When Spider-Man was accused of kidnapping the scientists of an old colleague of Professor Xavier, he has sent the X-Men Jean, Cyclops, Angel, and Iceman to track down Spider-Man back in 1972's Marvel Team Up number 4. The uncostumed X-Men have met their match when they briefly had a fight with Spider-Man, where Jean has used her telepathic powers to restrain the wrongfully accused Spider-Man by mentally freezing him into a place. Professor Xavier then discovered that Spider-Man was dying from toxins from his blood following his most recent encounter with Morbius, the living vampire. So the X-Men tracked down the villainous vampire to rescue the scientist and save Spider-Man. Once they fix him, Spider-Man thanks Jean Grey with a kiss, and she used her Mind Probe powers to find the scientist. The Fury of X-Factor. Yes, Spider-Man also crossed not only with the X-Men, but also in X-Factor. Okay, this is really important. So after the 5 original X-Men reunite in a reunion that's short-lived, imposed to the mutant deterrent agency called X-Factor, they secretly locate and trans mutants, where again the Daily Bugle publisher J. Jonah Jameson, has now hired X-Factor to capture suspect menace Spider-Man. Okay, the black suit Spider-Man has battled X-Factor and the Exterminators back in 1986 Amazing Spider-Man number 282, where Jean ensnared Spider-Man in a telekinetic cocoon. They attacked when Angel sent Spider-Man toppling into Jean, knocking her over off the edge of the rooftop. But Spider-Man let himself go and opened to attack when he used the last of his strength to shoot a web strand to save Jean from promptly passing out. Unbeknownst to them, Jean was capable of telekinetically saving herself. But rather than turn Spider-Man over to Jameson, X-Factor returned Jameson's retainer and told the anti-vigilante crusader Spider-Man is in fact not a mutant. So yeah, it's true. And then we have the Enter the X-Men. The Enter the X-Men Untold Tales of the Spider-Man. Again, this is really cool too. So Spider-Man first meets with the X-Men. Redcon takes again in 1997. Yes, 1997. The year I was born, 1997. Untold Tales of the Spider-Man, a number 21. Now, it sets Spider-Man's early career between the pages of classic Amazing Spider-Man run by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and John Lemaitre Sr. However, in an encounter that takes place shortly after the X-Men public debut, they battle again with Magneto at Cape Citadel in 1963 X-Men 1. Now the villain Menace has then claimed to be a mutant supremacist and attacked the office near a coffee shop, where the uncostumed Spider-Man, again the X-Men, happened to be in attendance. Spider-Man arrives on the scene after X-Men have mistaken the colorfully costumed teenager as a mutant terrorist. Instead of fighting Spider-Man, Spider-Man and X-Men have joined forces to stop the villain they prove to be an anti-mutant bigot. So then they frame mutants as terrorists. But we all know mutants are not terrorists. X-Men and Spider-Man. Okay. 2008 also had an X-Men Spider-Man, which is called 2008 X-Men Spider-Man number 1. In this story, it set Spider-Man and X-Men's early years, taking place after the events of 1965 Amazing Spider-Man number 34. Following again with the Kraven the Hunter, in his second failed attempt to capture Spider-Man in that book, Kraven has announced he discovered Spider-Man as a mutant and would apprehend him as a mutant menace. However, unbeknownst to them, the X-Men knew Spider-Man's not a mutant, so they set him out to warn Spider-Man, but before he was targeted by his enemy Kraven, including the mutant hunted Sentinels. So it's Kraven and the Sentinels. Again, Kraven's heightened senses had tracked Spider-Man's scent down to Peter Parker's hangout. the Coffee Bean, which is so happens to be a coffee shop in New York City. Also, Jean has also sent Spider-Man's approximate location when Craven and the Blob had attacked the coffee shop and had forced the prey to show himself. And Spider-Man joined the X-Men just as Craven went to the most dangerous opponent first. Jean, during the battle, had won, and again Spider-Man again turned down an offer to join the X-Men at the school and gifted youngsters upstate. The Spectacular X-Men. When the revenge-seeking Professor Power attacked the X-Men in 1992, the Spectacular Spider-Man number 197, he overpowered and abducted the X-Men Cyclops, Beast, Archangel, and Iceman because Jean wasn't present during the power attack. But he was able to join them and track them down in X-Men Spectacular number 198. As Jean used her powers to telekinetically disrupt the electrified cage to hold the X-Men prisoner, Spider-Man held off Power's army of guards. Jean then used her telepathy to penetrate Power's mind and then end his crusade against Xavier's former strands, and 6 heroes stopped Power's floating castle from falling out of the sky, from the Spectacular number 199. Also, they parted ways and Jean kissed Spider-Man again. Spider-Man and the X-Men. Again, another Spider-Man and X-Men. You see how far this goes? Okay, Spider-Man and the X-Men. Again, another Spider-Man and X-Men. Okay, in 2014, they had a 6-issue series, Spider-Man and X-Men. Spider-Man joined Jean Grey's school in the higher learning of Special Class Guidance Counselor Wolverine, who at the time had once been Spider-Man's teammate on the Avengers, requested by the favor before his death. Yes, Spider-Man and Wolverine were both on the Avengers. In case you don't know, it's also called the New Avengers. As the masked Mr. Spider-Man had taught a class as included young mutants Ernst, I-Boy, No Girl, Glob Herman, and Shark Girl, Rockslide, and Hellion, they also then Spider-Man's short-lived tenure at Jean Grey School. He served alongside the new Marvel Girl, Rachel Grey, who is the displaced daughter of Jean Grey, and Scott Summers from the Days of Future Past timeline, and his old friend Iceman. Because, yeah, he knows them. Then the Ultimate Mind Swap. They did the Ultimate Mind Swap. The Ultimate Mind Swap. Over in the Ultimate Universe, an Ultimate Spider-Man from 2004, number 66, they opened up X-Men Wolverine waking up in the body of a high school student, Peter Parker. And it's kind of weird, and vice versa. But the Mind Swap Peter tried to get to the bottom of inexplicably being transferred to Logan Adamantium Lace Skeleton in Ultimate Spider-Man number 67. Revealed the culprit was Jean Grey. Again, as the Mind Swap was, Jean telepathically put Logan in teenage Spider-Man's body because he wouldn't stop hitting on her. Jean was also just a teenager, so it kind of showed like a Freaky Friday kind of Mind Swap thing because Spider-Man's mind was in the place that least wanted to be. And Jean undid the mutant Mind Swap and explained she didn't mean to involve Spider-Man, but maybe in a subconscious revenge for Spider-Man, picturing her naked during their first meet in the Ultimate Spider-Man number 43. Again, very, very creepy. Again, that's why that was the bottom of the list. So, let me know your thoughts.